Turn up the volume, man. Welcome to the scene where we talking about the streets and what's in between.
Hello, hello, hello again. Here we are again talking
Again.
about craziness from Cam Newton's studio. On Funky Friday, he had Corey Holcomb, and they had a lot to say about a lot of different things. And so we wanted to address some of the topics that kind of just rubbed us a little bit wrong. But then there was also some things that maybe we could understand. Um, but today we are going to dive into and give our opinion about the conversation between Corey Holcomb and Cam Newton today on A World Between. I'm Elise, entrepreneur and realtor.
And I'm Eileen, HR professional, author, and artist.
And I'm Ellen, attorney, professor, and writer, and welcome to A World Between.
This is going to be a good show, you guys.
Is it? I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be something.
It's going to be good.
Race, politics, devotion, and community. A world divided, but this plies in unity. Entertainment trends, how the system shakes. From the hood struggles to the movements we make.
So who wants to get started? I didn't take any notes, but I will say before I get started, I think we all watched it a couple of times. And I was told by a male person that I needed to think a little more objectively about what was being said. So I will say that in some instances today, I will act as devil's advocate, although there were some, because I believe there were some good points. You just got to kind of dig through
Yes.
all the other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I know that I was irritated throughout both times that I watched it and really wanted my time back. I just want to say that.
Okay. And I'm going to say, I have seen Corey Holcomb before. I've even watched his show, 5150. And, and there's always, sometimes you just don't know if he's joking or if he's serious. And and sometimes he used the B word too much, and that's the part. Yeah,
Way
and
too much.
yeah, and that part I was like, oh my gosh, because on his show, there's a woman there, D, her name is D, and she has to tell him, Corey, calm down, stop using that word, sometimes. But he has an audience that follows him, and it's like a ritual. They follow him on every, if he goes and announce a concert, they go. So there are lots of people that relate to him. So
and I thought I didn't know who he was until I saw another picture of him without the beard. I'm like, oh, I've seen him in a lot of stuff. So he's been around.
a long 30 years. He's been a comedian for 30
Yeah.
years. Is he ignorant or is he just a different
mindset, perspective?
He clearly isn't dumb.
Right. He's not dumb.
He isn't. He's actually, oh my gosh, I can't.
He is smart. He has to be.
I was gonna say
he's smart.
Clearly, I mean, that's all I'm gonna say for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's honest. Let's just say that he from his soul, I feel like he is being 100% honest in how he feels and not trying to hide
honest. Yeah, honest about his particular perspective.
Yes, his perspective.
Yes, his perspective. So, Ellen, I know that you took notes. So, what's the first note that you made?
BBL. BBLs. It's like you can kill the message with delivery, and I understood what he was saying. He was basically talking about women who get BBLs, and we all say that. Even feminist women say it. Women say it. You don't get BBLs for yourself. You get it for the male gaze, right? And he was talking about women who get BBLs for the male gaze. They're doing it because they want male attention. And he said they were crazy and they have a mental illness. And he said, bees with BBLs, and I'm like, I can't. He could, I mean, just to be, with BBLs. So you had to like really take all the B's in order to understand a little bit of what he was trying to say. I feel like he objectifies women. I don't think he doesn't really seem like somebody who respects women, like just in the way that he was talking about women in general. But that's the main thing. I see what he's saying, what he was trying to say about people who alter, and I feel like that about any, even though somebody wants to do cosmetic surgery, you want to people to have the freedom to do that, but there is something going on if you do it for the attention of someone else.
Someone else. Yeah. Yeah. And I like so devil's advocate. I do like the point that he made because I think this is something that gets missed, and I think a lot of women are challenged by this. He made the point, or maybe Cam Newton made the point that you're not going to be able to flow in every arena if you are voluptuous. So if you got it coming from the top and from the bottom, there's just certain places that you're not going to be able to walk in because that voluptuousness is not celebrated as someone who is um, uh, uh, professional
Or
or
taken seriously. Yeah.
taken seriously. So, and I
But
think
aren't
that
black women more voluptuous? I'm not even talking about
but
But
women,
that's
women
what
and
I
men.
was getting ready to say. First of all, it's a challenge because black women have always had that as an issue. But I think the difference is that that the women that he's speaking of, they're actually like doing it to themselves. And it's something totally different if that's your natural body. And, unfortunately, men don't take that serious because they looking at your chest while they supposed to be looking at your face. But um, I think that that's something that a lot of, especially black women, have struggled with because we've had more curves than the average standard of beauty.
And then also, I think he's talking about where it's exaggerated. Like Kim Kardashian, like her waist is this small, and her natural body frame isn't having a big butt and and big breasts. She got those in hand. So I think he's trying to say you don't look natural when you do all the extra. He's saying if you're naturally curvy, that's just one thing. But he's saying when you go and even Cam said, and you walk around, people go, damn, that's the first thing they see. And that's what he's saying. And I can understand when they say that certain type of women do that. I feel like I don't even know if a lot of them do it for just men attention. I think they want to be quote the baddest girl in the room. It's not necessarily just for men. They want attention from everybody. Social media, they post when you post those pictures on social media, it's like you get so many follows and that cause and that come and resource comes from that. So it's just not about attention from males too.
Yeah. I don't. I'm not trying to give him no attention, but go on, do your thing, live your life however you choose.
Right, but
I,
the problem is when you get older and you didn't take that money that you earn when you're 20, what are you going to do when you're 50? And did you develop other skills? That's the conversation that a lot of those women are not having. Are they going to invest this money? What's you going to do when the looks go away? So
yeah, yeah. Or when the kids, the funny the joke that's always made is when the kids come and the kids look like something else. So
right, right, right. You know. His philosophy, I can understand what he's saying when he's talking about families. And he kept saying how he does what he does because he's trying to preserve the black family, and it is like it's like he was saying two different things, because he was talking about God, but then he was talking about gay people and how God doesn't honor that. But I don't think God honors making families, and not being married to the wife. You know what I'm saying? It's just like he was all over the place. But I don't I think he has issues with women. I really do. I think that his father wasn't in the home. I think his mom, was out in the streets. So what can you expect from him if that's how he was raised and he really believes that it's right?
Yeah. Speaking about family, so the first thing he said that was like, wow, whoa, was that black women kill babies. Um, and then the next one, he was like, well, black men don't create broken homes. And I was like, this is like, it's not even, it, it's not, because sometimes I get, like, we have to be careful about our messages because we're already in social media having an issue with um, marriage and relationships between men and women and broken homes
Can we
and
clarify
children
that
being
relationship between black men and black women?
black men and
I mean,
black
because we
women.
don't see that in other cultures. Like, I don't
No,
see this.
actually, it is happening across the board. It is not just, unique to the black culture.
Okay.
I saw a post today about a girl who went to Sweden, and it was a bunch of women from Sweden talking about, well, she was a black woman. She went to Sweden. She was talking about how great she was treated, and there was a bunch of women from Sweden talking about they don't treat the women here that way. So I
Mm.
think it's a global thing, but my point is that for the black community, we have to be concerned about preserving our community, preserving the black family, and we cannot do that if we're continually perpetuating these negative images and these just for a joke, just for a like, just for a clout, or whatever you want to say about it. But we can't continue to perpetuate. At some point in time, we got to turn the corner on what we're doing right now so that we can get back to growing our community like we've always been doing before.
Mhm. Mhm. And the part where he said that, um I understand what he's saying because he's saying that for a woman to have a baby with a man, you're giving him the ultimate thing. It's
Control.
the Yeah, and a baby,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we determine who we lay down with. And if
True.
he wasn't a good man to begin with, he's not going to miraculously turn into one because you're having a baby. I He didn't say that, but I think that's what he's saying. If don't get with a dude that you know that's not going to take care of you and your family or marry you or whatever. But yeah. So I yeah. So I say he put some gems in here, but it was you got to
Yeah.
find what he's trying to say. And I think
But
he
but
loves black people. And yeah.
I think he loves black people too. And but you can't. The problem is you can't surround the gym with poop. And for just a normal person listening, they are going to hear the other stuff that's wrapped up. And if it aligns with what they already think, they're not going to hear the gem. They're not going to hear what he really thinks. The first part was a joke. And I think that is his talent to actually grab you with a joke, but he does it kind of in a very negative way. He grabs you with a negative joke that you know gets you to pay attention, and then he teaches you something. But at that point in time, you didn't already digested the negative thing that he's already said.
Right. 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 And then when he talked about monogamous, being monogamous in a relationship, he was married and they were monogamous. I feel like he's
Well, I mean,
thinking,
how do you know that though? He didn't. He made it seem like he wasn't.
right, but he was because he said, because on his show 5150, he talks about how hard it was for him to be monogamous when he was married, and he was, but at some point it was over because she left him because he was cheating, and I feel like
Wait,
Kim,
I'm
I
sorry. He did. She
what
did what?
she left him because he was cheating.
So
So
he
basic,
wasn't
so basically,
monogamous.
No, so basically he was monogamous to a point and then it got too much for him and then he just started cheating.
Right. And then she left.
Okay. All
But
right.
that's where he gets the idea that it's not realistic, because the more money he said he started making, the more women he had access to, you know.
So it's hard for me to take anything that he says seriously when he says that he deals only with women in poverty.
He's joking when he says that.
But he
Is it?
may be joking, but he's saying women in poverty because he's at that level where if he gets somebody, it's gonna be a woman in poverty. But if we're talking about a Cam Newton, we talking not talking about a woman in poverty, but we're talking about a woman who is at a lower earning threshold. And that sentiment is is becoming more and more common. Men who are high earners want a woman who is a lower earner, considerably lower earner, so that they can control them. They don't want to have somebody who is at their level, um, as an earner, as a thinker, as a whatever, because they just don't want the rigors that they have to go through to be challenged by that person or to by that woman.
I thought he was being really hypocritical because at one point he says he wanted a woman who was, lower in economic status, who just needed him for, he said, to give her kids some Jordans from the outlet mall, right? So he wants somebody who's financially dependent on him so he can be controlling in that relationship. But then later on down the line, he was talking about how it would be wonderful to have a woman who's for your friend, somebody that you could talk to, somebody, who's a homie, but then also your, I guess, homie lover friend, whatever. I know I'm just showing my age there, but I'm like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I feel like men want to have their cake and eat it too. They really want them both. They want, what I'm saying? Because you can't say you just want this, but really you want a woman who is on your level, who you can converse with. So what are you saying? You want everything. So it was really hard to take anything he said seriously. Is that what you got from that?
But Ellen, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
We have talked about
Yeah.
men who they marry or commit to this person over here that is lower and they can control, but then they waste the time of women that they can talk to, that they can have fun with, who is their best friend. Like that is a common theme.
I don't
Um,
understand that.
I
But he
don't
said that
understand it either.
but he said that you're most not likely to find that. He said if you can find that, that's beautiful. But he said you're more likely not to.
But you
So
are, but you're gonna do what he does, which is not deal with that and deal with the woman in poverty.
Yeah, they're not gonna commit. It's so strange how a man will not commit to the woman who actually fulfills them spiritually, emotionally, but they will commit to the woman who is more external, fulfills them from an external perspective. It's strange.
well, I don't know if it's strange or is it biological. I mean, because men will tell you all day long that we're biological, we're made up because of the way that we feel and how if we fall in love with the way a woman looks, everything else for us is just secondary. So I don't know, is it or is it? It's biological,
What do you mean biological?
meaning that men fall in love by what they see. They fall in love by what they're attracted to. They can't put it into words, but that's the person they fall in love with. Just like Erica Mendez. What's that girl's name? She's crazy as the days are long, but men keep falling for her because of the way that she looks.
And
And she's
well,
crazy.
Erica Mena, she's a Latina reality TV show. She is the preference. Let's just keep it real. In our society, light skinned, Latino looking, multiracial looking women are the preference. And yes, they pick her, but they don't treat her any better than they do, women who aren't the preferences. So she gets
They
picked, but she does not
But that's
They don't
because of the
mistreat it.
man. Right, but yeah, but let's look at the men she selects. She's picking men that were never good to begin with. Safari, and you know what I'm saying? So it
Rich
goes
Howland.
both ways. We pick men too based on the way they look too, but we're not, like, we don't base it just on looks, like we're not supposed to. We base it on security, finances, it's just different. But we, some of us are picking men who we know are not good, but we're thinking we're the woman that's going to change them because we're so attractive, we're so beautiful, we're going to change them. So it goes both ways. And then also, I want to address something that I just cannot tolerate on any level, where he talks about violence. Remember when he talks about putting his
I
some woman in hate?
mean, he
I,
made
I,
me agree with Cam Newton. I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm watching a show and I'm aligning with Cam Newton, there's something wrong, right? Because that was terrible. So
I
explain
And
what
he
mean,
he
was
said,
it?
somebody.
and Kim let him go on and on and on, and I was like, cut,
I would have
cut.
been like, dude, you're gonna get us canceled because the fact that he
What did he
said,
do? Say it.
huh? He said
Explain.
something about that it's okay to show restraint or discipline, physical discipline
Discipline.
for a
Yeah,
woman.
that's what he said. Discipline.
You talking like Ike Turner now. You know what I'm saying? Those are the words that Ike Turner would use. That is crazy to me.
Which is
So
another reason why I can't take him serious, because he said something where he hits a woman, or the way that he does it, there are no marks. You can't see it. That scared me. I'm like, that is awful.
that's not
That
funny.
says it's not funny.
I know Cam told he said, That's not funny, but and it has a
Yeah,
million views so far. So
yeah. When he said it, so I was driving when I was listening, and when he said it, I was getting off an exit, and I think I drove probably 2 miles, and he was still trying to explain it, and I'm like, dude, read the room. Cam is not even.
right,
Cam is not
right.
even going along with it. Um, but he just kept going and going and going. I was like, this is not good. But
It's
again, there are going to be so many people that are going to hear that and think, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm doing is not abnormal.
You think that, and you call 911 and see what happens, and you gonna sit there and say, "Well, Corey Holcomb does it." Well, you still going to jail. So that was just, yeah, mind blowing. And like Cam said, if you have to, if it even gets to that point, this is not a good relationship. You should just end it. Don't even try to. And Cam was like, after that, let's. You still want to talk about this? So let's move on. So,
Yeah.
mm,
I do like the way Cam said that he makes it clear, don't put me in a position where I'm going to be embarrassed, basically. Because I take that position as well. That's not just for men, that's just for women. That's for women as well. Don't put me in a position where I have to respond to you in a certain way, or where I'm embarrassed in a certain way because you acting a fool in public. Don't do that. Because I'm not, I mean, of course I'm a woman, the physical thing, but I'm just gonna be like, okay, we done.
yeah, but yeah. So I have to address that part, and then you know, and he talks about homosexuality. We don't have to go into this, but for him to say, "Oh, Will Smith is gay," I was like, "What are you?"
Allegedly, right? I was like, there
Allegedly,
was
I
like,
don't.
the lawyer in me was like, oh, these are a lot of statements that he's making. He could be sued. Like, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that Cam allowed him to go that far with the things that he was saying. There
Mhm.
was no allegedly there. It was just blatant. So I don't know. And who else are we talking about? That
But
one
the point
guy.
he
Hmm.
I was just gonna say the point that he was trying to make about it was that in Hollywood, you have to be, if you're going to be significant, you have to agree to do certain things. And then there's just, that's just what Hollywood is. And so to some degree, if you see somebody that's, has a successful career, um, you can assume that that was part of their journey.
I don't know.
And we know all the stuff that's going on now, so he might have a
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he said this alone. He's been saying this for years, and people always just kind of thought he was crazy. He go, "What are you talking about?" But now, ever since what's that other comedian's name?
Terry
Cat
Crews.
Williams. No,
Uh,
Cat Williams. That's when it really kind of people's like, oh, maybe he's telling the truth.
I mean, even Terry Crews said that though, so we all know
Hmm.
that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I hear somebody make a comment like that, I always say, "Did y'all not watch Hollywood?"
Right on Netflix, very good
Yeah,
show.
that was a good show
It
series.
was.
Hollywood. Okay,
It's,
never seen that show.
it's really
Yeah,
good, really
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Now you have to
But
rewatch it. You're like, oh, and this is like Hollywood set back in the day, like
yeah,
we were like the 50s and the 60s. But
yeah.
wow.
we all know.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I really found him to be quite offensive. He was not funny. I could understand where he was trying to go with some things, but like I said, the delivery is just all off. Like he's got a following, he's got a show that people watch.
Nicole, he has a huge following, both men and women. Yeah,
Really,
girl,
Yeah,
yes. It,
he says
so
enough to keep him fed.
it's like because he has this show 5150 that's on YouTube, and it comes on Tuesday night, and it's like 20,000 people in the on the live chat, and they send him
really.
money.
Hey,
Uh,
you know the day and the time and
Oh,
everything.
right? Are you one of those people, Nikita?
sometimes I
Are
think he
you?
sometimes
Bet
he
you
knows.
are.
I said once you get through some of the, profanity, and because I like there's this girl on there called she used to be married to Ice T. I can't remember her name, but her name is Dee. She's really sweet. So I like Dee. Anyway.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show, he was making a comment about how uh, black people in particular are not getting paid their worth. And when he started there, he made some other jokes that was kind of offensive, but that was like the first 10 or 15 minutes. But then when we got to this point where we were talking about the economic state of Black America, that did resonate with me because I do believe that, you know, we've talked about this before. We don't own anything. We're consumers. We don't produce things. And the point that he was making to Cam is like, you got paid, but you were getting a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of all those people that you're bringing into the stadium, and you're making somebody else money, and that somebody else can control, who and what you do, but you're the actual talent.
Mm,
And I didn't want that point to get lost in all of it, because I think as a community we do need to think about from an economic perspective. Because he was like, well, you should have got stock. And he was like, well, the contract has to negotiate the stock. And then it just made it clear to me that Cam doesn't even have the ability to negotiate his own contracts.
Mm.
So, it was just kind of like, wow, we still have a long way to go to understand we're in it, and we may be able to maneuver as part of the wealthy class, but we don't have the knowledge and the ability to actually impact or influence the community.
right. And yes, and he even said that we are fed our artists. Like they determine who we're listening to.
Right.
And one of the things he didn't touch on to me, which he should have, is that he's a self-made millionaire. He is the one that has taken his career to the level that it is. Nobody else without any help
Mhm.
from, other people. So, but yeah, he made some really good point on that point.
Yeah, I had forgotten about, because he was like, there used to be talent scouts, and I forgot about, like, back in the days, especially the early 90s, there were so many comedy shows. There was what was the one that was on BET?
Comic View.
That's Comedy
Comic
Jam.
Comic View. Def Comedy Jam. There were all kinds of shows that were scouting talent, and you
Mhm.
could see the talent come through. Um, so I have forgotten all about that. Um, and to his point, now you go and you're like, I hope this dude is funny because you haven't seen him anywhere else. Maybe you follow him on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. But
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can
And
share.
that is true. Because there's so many new talent from YouTube that, and all the, I'm like, I don't know any of these people.
right. And by the way, you're not funny.
But, but
There have
it's
been a couple of people on Netflix. I'm like, that's not funny.
girl, I know. You were like, what? But I don't know. Any other points you all want to make?
No.
You said no.
You're still mad.
Right. I took one for the team because we were. I should have said that. You like
You
that kid?
did. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, I did. I mean, it was interesting. We're open to. Yeah, I just the delivery just was so off putting that I could never take him seriously, and I never want to see him again, or really Cam. But I'm sure we will in the future.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I got somehow I know how it happened, but I got somehow in this Cam Newton loop today. So I saw a couple of other shows. I did want to point out because I did have to fact check because he said he brought up two people that he kind of just was like, oh, they're not real, they're fake. First was B Simone.
hmm
He said that she stole someone's book.
that is true.
That is true. But the
hmm
other one,
Who is B Simone a comedian?
Yes. With
Okay,
yes, you know who she is.
yeah, I
Yes.
do.
yeah, yeah. I had to look that up. And then the other one was Dr. Bryant.
Right. She
Um,
does have a PhD though. So.
In their minds, it's an online school. So,
I mean,
but
but what degree does he have? What school did he go to?
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying.
he
Why are
doesn't
you?
go.
Huh?
I think that goes back to what you were saying about him having issues with women.
I think he
Um,
with high achieving women. I
yeah.
wouldn't say high achieving black women. He didn't say black women, but I felt like when he kept using the word B, he was talking about black women. So it's just to me, I think that's dangerous to the culture. I don't care how insightful he is, or even if there's a kernel of truth in what he's saying. The delivery to me is
But you know
off
what?
putting.
I agree with that. But what woman with a PhD is going to deal with him? Like, I think he attracts a certain type of woman. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine a highly educated, sophisticated woman being on his arm. I just can't imagine that. And this because of, the
I,
lifestyle he lives and go ahead.
I can't either, but I think if someone like that liked him, he would be very resentful and not be nice. I think there's something about him that to me resents women. Y'all didn't get that?
No,
I
I
think
mean, I think in order, so it comes to the responsibility of your message. And in order to have that message and to allow it to come out of your mouth, you have to feel some kind of way. Because otherwise, you would say something else because you wouldn't want the image of Black women to be diminished. But it doesn't seem like he cares.
He
So,
doesn't.
is he from I feel like he's from the streets. I mean,
And
we
that's okay. You can be from the streets, but he said he
right.
cares about the black family. But how can you care about the black family when you're tearing down one part of the black family? Like he really likes black men. He says the black man should be the leader, that he should be, if he says, I think he said, oh, if he goes to somebody's house and the wife opens the door, then he doesn't have any respect for the man because the man should come to the door. And even still I
yeah,
could
I thought that was
understood that he
crazy.
was, I mean, yeah, you say I guess danger wise, I don't know. But you can't dislike black women and be for the black family. You
I
cannot.
don't. Yeah, I don't think he. I think he's okay. I mean, I don't want to
That's
get
it.
into this. I feel like he truly believes that the black man needs to be the protector, and when you are a protector, you are going to open the door first. You are going to see because just like not battlefield, but the first layer is always the man. So
You're not.
you
You're
what?
not protecting me and calling me a B at the same time.
No,
You're just
you're
not.
not. I'm not saying
I'm
that.
just
I'm
saying.
saying we're talking about what he's saying about the door. He's saying how it is weird when a woman opens the door and the man is right here. You know, the man should be the one to open the door. It's just like the man should be the one to pumping the gas instead of you sitting in the car. But
And the thing is, he's not saying it to protect the black woman. He's saying it because the man should be the dominant one, should be the one opening the door. His focus is male centered. It's not on. I'm saying he seems resentful. I don't see anything protective about him as a black woman. Is what I'm saying. The words may be coming out of his mouth that that's what he's for, but how he says it and the delivery completely different. They're hypocritical to me, which makes me as a black woman uh unable to take anything he says seriously.
And that comes down to respect too, because black men are always like, we want you to respect us, we want you to respect us, and it's hard to respect someone who calls me out of my name, diminishes my position. You know, yeah, you could be a leader, but
you can't be
it
using the B word.
you can't
Come
be,
here,
yeah,
me.
you can't disrespect me and treat me like a dirty rag, but then expect me to respect you.
And
Yeah.
submit to you. We ain't gonna get there. Like I feel like there's a lack of respect, like you all said, and I feel like he doesn't like women. You know, I think, and we would say that if he were a black woman who was saying the same thing about a black man, we would say the same. I don't think it's right for either person. And I do listen to someone, Nikita, like I see Nikita smirking because she gonna bring up Erica De Niro. Okay. I do listen to Erica De Niro, and but she said she's talking about all men.
She said, I mean, I've never heard. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay,
listen to her, but yeah,
yeah, but she even
yeah,
talked about Corey Holcomb. It's clear that
yeah.
he does not like
What
women.
what did she say about it?
She says what he said was horrible. That it is clear that he does not like black women. That he was just really, it was vile in her opinion. The stuff that he was saying is real. It's vile. I mean, there's a line that you cross where people just can't take you seriously. But hey, he's a millionaire. It's working for him. It pays the bills, gets him his coins. At the end of the day, we're talking about black people and community. What are you putting out there for the sake of money, and what is it doing to the community? Because there are people who listen to him who are like, oh yeah, and he said he was a minister. What church?
Who said he?
He
He
said
said
Oh,
he
he
was
was
a
a minister.
he
I
was
said,
no,
what?
he was just saying that from the
Okay, I'm sorry.
perspective
Let me
of
let me calm
he
down.
delivers a
yeah,
message. Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he's a minister anywhere.
Well, how about this? I bet you got some followers. You know what I'm saying? Who
But yeah,
possibly
so do
look up to him.
ministers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for that experiment. I appreciate it.
Yes. So if you all have any comments, did we miss anything? Is there anything that we feel like we should talk about? So leave a comment.
And like and subscribe and share.
Hmm.
And follow us on our Facebook group and catch us on any other platforms that hold podcasts.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Turn up the volume, man. Welcome to the scene where we talking about the streets and what's in between. Race, politics, the culture, and community. A world divided, but this pies of unity.